The siblings are seeking a path to freedom more than 3 decades after murdering their parents. KTLA's Chip Yost is live at the courthouse with the latest. Hi, Chip.
Yeah, hey there, guys. Yeah, this was set up to be a resentencing hearing. We were supposed to hear arguments about whether or not Eric and Lyle Menendez deserved to be resentenced and possibly be released at a later date because of that resentencing. Instead, we got none of that. Instead, there was a lot of arguing over other issues. One of the issues that they argued over, it sounds like, is whether or not the LA County District Attorney should be recused from the case. That is one thing that Mark Geragos, the attorney for the brothers, is now asking for. He's one of the folks that has been speaking back here behind us a few minutes ago. He addressed that issue. Here's more from him.
The family does not want to go through this charade anymore with the DA. They are going to, I anticipate, the motion hasn't been written yet, but given what transpired today and given what's obvious to anyone, I think, who has a couple of synapses that are still firing, this is a DA who made up his mind and did no hard work in terms of his position. He is vindicating no one's interest.
Geragos basically says he believes the DA is biased. One of the reasons he says he believes the DA is biased is what the DA did this morning. The DA showed up here, Nathan Hochman, to talk about this case, and one of the reasons he was asking for this resentencing hearing to be postponed. That is because the Menendez brothers not only have this resentencing hearing going on, they've also been asking the governor for clemency. As part of that, the governor ordered earlier this year that a risk assessment report be done. Hochman said he learned earlier this week that part of that report was done. In fact, he said his office had received part of that report, and he wanted that to be in the record for this resentencing hearing. He talked a little bit about that this morning while he was making his remarks to reporters. Let's take a listen.
When we received that risk assessment, we believed it constituted additional facts that the court should consider in deciding whether or not the Menendez brothers do pose a risk of danger to society. These additional facts are based on a review that the parole board does that is comprehensive. They look at all the records, the prison records, the interview records, the reports in the prison. They talk to various people throughout the prison system about the Menendez brothers, and then they prepared a report that analyzes their view of the comprehensive risk that the Menendez pose of potentially being a danger to society. So we wanted to make sure that the judge got a copy of that report and considered it in connection with this sentencing.
Now, this hearing, the judge did not allow cameras inside, but our own Kimberly Chang was allowed inside. She was our eyes and ears in the courtroom. Kimberly, you heard a lot of this back and forth. It sounded like it was tense in there. Tell us, what's the next step? What is going to be going on going forward?
Absolutely tense, Chip. So we were in court starting at 9:30 this morning. A lot of what Mark Geragos, who represents the Menendez brothers, what he had to say was that Nathan Hochman is biased, the district attorney. Hochman wasn't in court today, but as you saw, as we just heard, he had a news conference outside on the courthouse steps, which really irritated Geragos and the family members. He said he's showboating. He said this is a dog and pony show. And now he told the judge that he intends to file this recusal motion, which they're going to discuss on May 9th. So the recusal motion basically against the DA's office, saying that he wants them off of this case. He believes Nathan Hochman is biased. He specifically mentioned this morning he thinks he's biased because he lived in Beverly Hills. His family did, near the crime scene when it happened. He also said Nathan Hochman attended Beverly Hills High School, where the Menendez brothers attended, and he believes that during that time the community was in fear when the murders happened, and that Nathan Hochman has a personal bias because of his proximity to the crime scene.
You know, what happened with this risk assessment report? Of course, the DA had his own argument that we need to wait and get this risk assessment. And just for the audience, this risk assessment, according to the governor's office, only a portion of it has been done. The rest of it should be finalized by a June 13th hearing they're supposed to have before the parole board. But Hochman wants whatever's done to be introduced, right? Tell me what happened with that in the hearing.
Exactly. So this morning, prosecutors were saying we need the information that's in that risk assessment report. We need all of the information information so the judge can make a decision on this possible resentencing. Now, the defense was saying that's irrelevant. We don't need to see this risk assessment. It doesn't matter what's in it. Now, the question was, will the governor's office provide that risk assessment to the court for this resentencing hearing? Because the clemency hearing is completely separate, right? That's another path to freedom that the brothers are taking. So they took a recess. They came back into court at 1:30. The council met in closed chambers with the judge. They came back out and the judge announced at this point they have to reach out to the parole board in order to see if they can get that risk assessment. And they don't know if it's going to be admissible for the purposes of this resentencing hearing. So that is the second issue that they will discuss on that May 9th hearing.
So we had a resentencing hearing, but basically didn't really hear anything about what'll happen going forward. We're going to have to wait and see. And what are the dates you said again? I'm sorry.
May 9th is going to be the hearing to talk about the recusal motion as well as that comprehensive risk assessment, the CRA. The resentencing hearing, we don't have a date on that yet. They just said tomorrow, which was scheduled to be the second day of the resentencing hearing, that has been pulled off the calendar. It's canceled for now.
Okay, so there you go. So hurry up and wait as far as what's going to happen next in this case. We're still getting comments from some of the folks involved in this. I believe some of the family members probably speaking right now. So we'll have updates throughout the evening. But for now, the resentencing hearing postponed to a later date. For now, we're reporting live outside the Van Nuys courtroom here. I'm Chip Yost with Kimberly Chang. We'll send it back to you.